Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the 2020 European Rowing Junior Championships in Belgrade in Serbia. Eagerly awaited by a lot of athletes that have come here, 27 nations all together, to compete for the title of European Junior Champion. We had a great morning session until some point when the weather came upon us strongly. So we had a little bit of a thunderstorm at the end of the morning session. Not a little bit, actually. It was quite heavy, but everyone got on land, I believe, safe and sound. So all set for a great afternoon session. Let me just quickly point out two races of this morning for you, because they were really tightly contested. The junior women's quad, that was heat number 1, where France and the Czech Republic for one of the qualifying places between them were separated by just 0.03 of a second. So the Czech Republic has to row later on in the repechage, and nearly the same small margin was in the junior men's squad between Poland and Ireland in their heat for places 2 and 3, and 2 would be the direct qualification, whereas and that was for Poland this time with just 0.18 of a second margin over Ireland. So great racing this morning. And again, we have good conditions. My name is Sebastian Franke. I have the privilege and honor to bring you the racing action both here on the venue and also across Europe and maybe around the world, wherever you tune in. And I've also got the delight to be joined by two great colleagues. So it's Jovan and Sava Popovic, both experienced international rowers for Serbia, and also experience in the world and in the language of rowing. So guys, we had a great morning session. What were your highlights?
Well, definitely the races that you mentioned were really interesting, and I love seeing young and up and coming athletes show their best in from the start of the competition. You definitely see there's some international potential for somewhere down the line, and those two races were definitely great. I love seeing eights race, of course, because we don't really get to see that kind of intense racing in eights that often. And I don't know, it's those are kind of I'm expecting a lot more from the afternoon, because there's going to be a lot of races that are make it or break it, so to say, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of good competition going on.
I also have to say that I enjoyed the both the men's and women's Coxed list 4. It was a fantastic opportunity to see some of the most quality rowing out there. So it's definitely has been a fantastic racing morning, and I'm very looking forward to the Repechage, because I think this is the point where it's really an all or nothing race. People are going for either qualifying in the finals or having to settle for B finals and maybe not getting through. So this is a very intense afternoon. I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to racing all season. So it's a pleasure to be here with you guys and commentating.
One word or a few words maybe on the Serbian hopes for this event. There are quite a few crews entered, and some are even doubling up between the small boats. That's in the junior women's sector and the 8. So what would be your 1 or 2 Serbian best hopes, if you will?
Well, I would say the pair is definitely the boat to watch. The men's pair, the women's quad is also something that I'll be looking into, because I heard that there was a lot of hope going into that team, and maybe the Coxed 4, the men's Coxed 4. That's something that's dear to my heart, and I love that boat class. So.
And for me, it's the 8s. I'm having high hopes for the guys in the 8 still. Dakle, samo da vas podsjetimo, evo, nalazimo se, kao što vidite na ekranu, na samoj startnoj liniji. Ovo je prva preliminarna trka popodnevnog programa, to je četverac sa juniorke. Imamo tri ekipe u ovoj preliminarnoj trci. U pruzi broj 1 to je Rusija, u pruzi broj 2 je Rumunija, u pruzi broj 3 je Ukrajina. Start bi trebalo da usledi za neka 3 minuta i to je početak našeg popodnevnog programa. Nadamo se da će vreme da nas posluži i da će ostati ovako do samog kraja i da nas neće iznenaditi kao što je to bio slučaj sa krajem jutarnjeg dela programa.
Yeah, you can see the athletes sitting ready at the start. I mean, they are called in a few minutes early and a few minutes before the start, and now they're preparing mentally and trying to get their boats, hold their boat straight with this light headwind conditions. Again, I mean, the wind veered around at the end of the morning session to be a strong tailwind. Now we're back into headwind conditions. And we have 3 boats lined up here for the preliminary race of the junior women's Coxed 4. It's Russia in lane 1, Romania in 2, and Ukraine on lane 3. Lane 3 being more to the grandstand side. So these 3 boats want to test their speed and determine an order, which will probably later on be determining the lanes for the final that's going to be held tomorrow. Speaking about finals, we have the full set of final tomorrow from 12:26 onwards, all the way through to 3 p.m. So it's going to be a great thing to watch. Tune in again on 12 something European Central European time, and then you're not gonna miss out on any of the racing action. Start has been given. All 3 boats powering off the blocks. Great race to be coming up soon.
Upravo je usledio start prve preliminarne trke današnjeg popodnevnog programa. To je četverac sa juniorke, kao što smo rekli, 3 ekipe, Rusija, Rumunija i Ukrajina. One of the things from a local perspective, I think from the local race course perspective, I guess, would be that headwind and tailwind conditions over here, especially this kind of weather, would be considered at the race course as near perfect condition, I guess, because usually there could be a problem with the crosswind that could be quite strong at the 1250 mark. So this is quite good.
Yeah, I mean we're on one of the fairest courses that I've seen so far. It's quite wide, so that's a good thing for the rowers. They want to have even chances all across the lanes, and so far we have been really happy to see good racing action. 3 boats here in the preliminary race of the junior women's Coxed 4. Not much to choose actually between all 3 crews at the moment, so they all give it a go. We talked about this during the morning session. After this long summer with just endurance training, and then later on picking it up, internal trials, forming the boats, and then trying to get the boat speed, it's really difficult to gauge your own speed, your own strength, your own stamina during the race. So what do you think these athletes will be doing in this preliminary race?
Well, I think that this preliminary race is really a perfect trial run, basically, to see to execute their race plan as best as possible, and to sort of to see where they are against each other and sort of measure up in the first race. As Jovan has said, I think all of these crews have been training and they were eager to race. And I think now that they have the opportunity, I think a race extra, such as a repechage race or a preliminary race in this case, can be a positive thing and sort of get them going, get the blood going hot. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, get them going. That was the key word maybe for the Ukrainian crew to the right, who looks, for me, to have a very good, solid rhythm, really good at the finish of the stroke, sitting there and letting the boat run under them. They have established a little bit of a margin here, maybe half a length over their competitors from Romania and from Russia. So let's see how this race develops further. But Ukraine certainly looks to be having a good boat speed here, as we are now at around 750 meters into this race. It's Ukraine leading Russia, then Romania.
The good thing about these preliminary races, when you don't have a lot of competition in a category, is good to also assert your dominance or assert your position between other crews, to let them know what you're here to mean business, and then we can see that the Ukrainian crew is definitely showing that it works well for their psychology and for going into the final race. That's at least my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in this rather new boat class or newly reintroduced boat class in junior rowing scene, it's also the coxswain that might play a decisive role because, yes, he or she is lying in the front of the boat, in front of the rowers. So it's difficult when you're in the lead to see the opponents. But on the other hand, it's also about tactics, right? So what's the role of the coxswain in this context?
Well, I would like to start off with with a small sort of anecdote from our college days. I remember in the eight, usually you wouldn't, as a less experienced rower, excuse me, you wouldn't put much faith in the coxswain. But when you have an experienced coxswain in the boat, it really makes a difference, a real difference, timing difference. Not just, of course, like you said, it's tactics, but also you can see it in the numbers. So having a good experienced coxswain is a great advantage, I think, in this discipline. What do you think, Jovan?
Definitely, I agree with you. It's a great asset to have in a boat, especially when your blood is pumping very, as you said earlier, very hot, and everything is moving fast, and you have pretty much tunnel vision. It's great to have someone very experienced and very calm in the head to guide you through that process, and having that feel for the rhythm, for timing. It's definitely a crucial part in boats such as the 4 and in the 8, of course.
Yeah, and boats are sometimes starting to make a move called by the coxswain, and then the opponents have to be aware of that and try to counter that move. It's still quite close. We have times from the 1,000-meter mark, and there we saw the Ukrainian crew still in the lead. To the right of your picture, Romania is in the middle. They were in third place at that point, and Russia was in second, but just about 1.5 seconds separating first and second, and then another 1.5 seconds down we have the third place Romanian crew. So still everything in it for all three crews. They give themselves a run for the money here, really. Good race developing on the last 500 meters.
I kako se takmičarke približavaju poslednjih 500 metara trke, jedno kratko obaveštenje o samoj trci. Dakle, na prvom mestu trenutno se nalazi posada Ukrajine, zatim na drugom mestu posada Rusije i na trećem mestu posada iz Rumunije.
Well, actually, this boat class is opening up tomorrow's session of Finals A at 12:26 tomorrow. So these crew have roughly a little bit less than a day to recover from whatever they put into this race. And it's still Ukraine with a very solid rhythm, very good cooperation in the boat, squaring the blades early, and they still have that edge, that momentum there as we approach the red buoy zone, which means the action is even further heated up. Ukraine leading this field, but just under a length. And look at the sprint that the Romanians are putting in now. They look a little bit more ruffled than the other crews, but they have the speed now.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is where we also have to mention the coxswains again. I mean, as much as this is a race of the whole cruise, this is a also moment where the coxswains can really shine fully. Gauging the race, improvising the race plan, and sort of going against each other. So back to you.
Thanks, Sauer. A great race for the Ukrainians. They look very strong here, crossing the line in first place in this preliminary race, just ahead of Russia, who managed to keep their bow in front of third place Romania. But thanks to the ladies out there on the water for this great show of sportsmanship.
I prva preliminarna trka današnjeg popodnevnog programa, četverac sa kormilarom za juniorke, završila se prvim mestom Ukrajine, drugim mestom Rusije i trećim mestom za Rumuniju. Ova trka će se ponoviti sutra, sve tri ove posade naći će se u A finalu u sutrašnjem finalnom programu.
Here we are with the next preliminary race, and I think then we're done with the preliminary races. It's the junior men's Coxed 4 with 4 boats entered into this event. That means that they race each other today, and it's the race is composed of France, Russia, Ukraine, and Hungary. And again, we are fortunate to have this field so close together, just a length and a half maybe separating all 4 crews with about 3 minutes into this race. And it's indeed Ukraine that again lead this field as their compatriots did just a moment ago, halfway mark there. And it's Ukraine just ahead of France and Russia being nearly level at this point, and only Hungary hanging back a few meters. So great race again, developing in this preliminary race of the junior men's Coxed 4.
U toku je druga trka popodnevnog programa, druga preliminarna trka četverca SA za juniore. Na stazi su Francuska, Rusija, Ukrajina i Mađarska. Trenutno u vođstvu se nalazi posada Ukrajine, koju prate Rusija i Francuska, koje se bore za drugo mesto. Malo zaostaje posada Mađarske, ali kao što ponovit ćemo, ovo je preliminarna trka, ovo je trka gde se oprobavaju ove ekipe međusobno i kao neka generalna proba za sutrašnje finale.
So looking at the split times at halfway, at the 1,000 meter mark, Ukraine was leading France, but not by much. So 3:19.166 was the time clocked for Ukraine compared to 3:20.98 for France. And then it's Russia also hanging back just half a second. And again, also Hungary just a second behind Russia. So it's really still tightly knit here, this field of the junior men's Coxed 4. And now, as we said before, on the third 500, it's all about the endurance that you have accumulated, that you have built up over those weeks and months of training during the summer. And then now it's the time to apply all that training and bring it forward and bring it into race speed.
And now's the time to show it. And as Jovan says, when tunnel vision starts getting in, and there you do have an experienced driver, so to say, that's going to motivate you and get you out of that hole and help you finish the race as best as possible. So and we can see over here that we have 4 crews that are really going at it, and it's really anybody's race at this point. Even though we have 2 guys that are 2 crews that are ahead of the other 2, I wouldn't bet on anybody just yet.
True, absolutely true. I think though that also France are making a move right as you told us this. So they try to stride out a little bit from Ukraine in lane 3. But France in lane 1, they try to build on that lead a little bit with that push announced by the Cox one. But Ukraine is fighting back, so it's nearly level between Ukraine and France. I think Ukraine even have managed to recapture that first position here in the preliminary race of the junior men's Cox 4. So it's all about the win here. It's all about self-confidence to build towards tomorrow's final, which is at 12:36 tomorrow. Ukraine looks set to win this race ahead of France, 3/4 of a length at this moment, but it's only just 5-6 strokes to the line. Ukraine with a greater boat speed, and they win this preliminary race ahead of France, canvas down, and then it's really close. It's now Hungary overtaking the Russians, also a canvas separating those 2 crews for places 3 and 4.
I u samom finišu trke vidjelo se da je Ukrajina za manje od trećine dužine čamca uzela pobedu od strane Francuske, zatim Mađarska i na kraju Rusija u 4. poziciji. Sve ove ekipe naći će se sutra u finalu A, gde će se boriti za titulu šampiona Evrope.
Yeah, here they are happy and also trying to recover from that strain, that all that lactate in their muscles. Now they will do a nice cool down session and then be good for tomorrow's final at 12:36. Here we are with the first repechage of the day, the repechage number one of the junior women's single scull. Actually, there is just one between Bosnia-Herzegovina. That's Vivian Goretic, Bulgaria, Anna Maria Andreeva. Then it's for Russia, Anastasia Kucharenko, Estonia, Helena Dimitriev, and finally Serbia.
Milošević Svetlana.
So they're out there and competing. There's 5 single scullers, but only 3 seats to be had for the semifinal tomorrow morning. The semifinal that's going to take place at 9 o'clock tomorrow.
I došli smo do prvog repesaža današnjeg popodnevnog programa, a to je skif za juniorke. Pet posada imamo ovde, to je Vivian Goretić za Bosnu i Hercegovinu, Ana Marija Andreeva predstavlja Bugarsku, Anastasija Kučerenko predstavlja Rusiju, Helen Dimitrijev za Estoniju i Svetlana Milošević predstavlja Srbiju. Valja podsjetiti da samo prve 3 ekipe odlaze u polufinale, a 4. i 5. posada će se naći u finalu C.
So you can see all 5 scullers here on the course. We think it's lanes 2 and 3 that show best at the moment. So that would mean Anna Maria Andreeva of Bulgaria and Anastasia Kucharenko of Russia setting the pace here, closely followed by Helen Dimitriev of Estonia in lane 4. Hanging back a little bit is Vivian Goretic of Bosnia and Herzegovina, who's actually rowing for Basel Rowing Club, I believe. Coxed by Thomas Melges, former German international world champion in the lightweight quad, and some years back. But they are building speed there in Basel Rowing Club, and she is happy to be here on the waters of Ada race course. On the other hand, on the other side of the race field here is Svetlana Milošević of Serbia, who's trying to make an impression, trying to close the gap towards the leading 3 contenders, who now set themselves apart from the other 2 a bit more clearly, with an advantage now for Dimitriev of Estonia, second from the right. Narrowly maybe across, narrowly over Anastasia Kucharenko of Russia, and then half a length down is Andreeva for Bulgaria.
And here we can see a different gear that the competitors are putting their racing into, and the second race of the day, showing their best and trying to qualify for the semifinal A and B. So the first 3 spots taking them to the semifinal tomorrow in order to compete for making the A final.
Yeah, I mean, we all have been in that position, Jovan, when you're hanging back a little bit and your competitors are moving away a little bit. You are already so tired, but you have to scramble every bit of energy that you have left in your muscles, and that's exactly what Svetlana Milošević tries to do at this moment. Some steering problems there as well for her, being in the buoys on one side. That doesn't make the job easier, having to correct your straight line of rowing. But the first 2 contenders at the moment, as I said, are Helen Dimitriev of Estonia and Anastasia Kucharenko of Russia. Bulgaria hanging back half a length or 1.5 lengths. But maybe the Serbian sculler, even though she's still in the buoys, can catch up with the Bulgarian. That's the question to be answered in about a minute time from now.
As we can see, there's a lot of excitement going on in the last 200 meters. There's an upset. There's the first two places have been unchanged, but the third spot has. I'm seeing that the Serbian sculler is taking over the third position from the Bulgarian.
Yeah, so you're right, Jovan. I think the Bulgarian suddenly ran out of steam here with just 100 meters to go, but it's the Estonian sculler. So it's Elena Dimitriev who takes the win here, just ahead of Russia's Kucharenko. And let's see for the Serbian sculler how she does.
Dakle, kao što smo rekli, prvo mesto pripada Estoniji, Eleni Dimitrijev, drugo mesto pripada Rusiji, a treće mesto za našu Svetlanu Milošević. To su ujedno i tri ekipe koje će sutra ići u polufinale A ili polufinale B.
Yeah, we were so excited up here for the Serbian sculler that we struggled for words a little bit. But she's happy, of course, to be in the semi-final, which is going to take place, as I said, tomorrow at 9 and 9:06, the two semi-finals for the junior women's single sculls.
Sorry. No worries. Just had to get back into the zone over here.
So here we are with the first of two repechages in the junior men's single scull. We just had the women racing, now it's the men. Armenia, Croatia, Slovenia, Turkey and Israel are in this race. And the qualification rule here is just the first two will go through to the semi-final, to the final A, of course, tomorrow. So it's a really tough qualification rule here. And let's see who does the best job here on the course. Two scullers already away, 5.5 minutes into this race. And I believe it's the Turkish sculler, that's Omer Bayram, in lane 4. That's second from the right, who is leading here together with, I believe, the Croatian sculler Roko Bosković.
Ovo je sljedeća trka u našem popodnevnom repesaž delu prvog dana takmenja. To je juniorski skif. Imamo 5 posada. Jermenija pruga 1, druga pruga Kroacija, to jest Hrvatska, Slovenija, dakle, četvrta je Turska i 5 pruga je Izrael. Treba napomenuti da prve dve ekipe idu u finale A, a od treće nadalje u finale B. Omer Bayram iz Turske u vođstvu. I tu je i Roko Bošković koji pruža jedan otpor i tu se vodi borba za prvo mesto.
Another tricky decision to be made when you're so far ahead of the non-qualifiers, if you will. How much power do you invest? Omer Bayram of Turkey is set on investing a lot of energy here, trying to gauge his race speed and gather some confidence, get some confidence even more for tomorrow's final, for semi-final, of course, first. No, sorry, final. I'm correcting myself again. Final at 1 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be the final for the men's single scull, and it's really close, getting closer even between the Croatian sculler Rojko Bošković and then also the Turkish sculler Bayram. So these two battling out here for the first places. This is classic single sculling. Look at it, ladies and gentlemen. It's bow ball to bow ball between the Turkish and the Croatian scullers. They are eyeing each other. I think they want to go across the line and simultaneously, but it was the Croatian who had the edge. Great race, great judgment here, just ahead of the Turkish sculler. So that was classic single sculling. Slovenia coming in third position, and then it's for the fourth for Armenia and fifth for Israel at this moment. Sorry, fourth for Israel and then Armenia in fifth.
I u samom finišu trke za lopticu je predstavnik Hrvatske Roko Bošković kažem, nadjačao Omera Bajrama iz Turske, mada njih dvojica će ući u okršaj sutra u finalu A. Zatim je na treće mesto prošao Sergej Čupković iz Slovenije.
So here we are with repechage number 2 of the junior men's single scull. Bulgaria, Cyprus, Romania, Estonia, and Moldova are sending fine athletes into this competition. Let's see how this race pans out. The race already being 6 minutes old, just over 6 minutes, so that they have passed the 12:50 mark and are heading towards 1500 with one clear leader on lane 3, and that's Cristian Vasilenicoara of Romania dominating this field. Same qualification rule, of course. It's the first two that go. So who's second at the moment? I believe it could be Nikita Naumchuk of Moldova, who is at the right end of the course, so closest to the grandstand. He looks set.
Sljedeća trka u Repechage programu popodnevnom je opet skif za juniore. Imamo opet 5 posada i isto pravilo važi. Prva 2 prolaze u finale A 3., 4. i 5. u finale B. U pruga broj 1 to je Bugarska, pruga broj 2 Kipar, pruga broj 3 Rumunija, pruga broj 4 Estonija i pruga broj 5 Moldavija. I ono što se sigurno vidi, a to je da je predstavnik Rumunije u pruzi 3 u ubedljivom vođstvu.
Yeah, I just saw one rather irritated look from Nikita Naumchuk of Moldova, looking over his left shoulder, gauging the distance to left to the finish, and also gauging the distance to the leading sculler from Romania. He's looking over to the other side of the field, seeing that Bulgaria's Risto Kiracen is another 1.5 lengths down. So Moldova and Romania qualifying for the semi-final here in this boat class, for the final, of course, in this boat class. So let's see how the other scullers come across the line. It's bow number 2 in third position. That's the Cyprus sculler Diogenes, and then bow number 4 was for Estonia, Holosto. So this race is done. It's the second repechage of the junior men's single scull.
I na samom kraju, prva 2 koja su prošla u finale A su predstavnik Rumunije, Cristian Vasilenicoara, i predstavnik Moldavije, Nikita Naumchuk.
So from the single sculling repechages, we move on to the sweep rowing repechages. Junior women's pair is the next one on our list of racing, and we have 6 pairs here on the course: Hungary, Russia, Switzerland, France, Turkey, and Spain. The heat winners in this category this morning were Poland and Romania. So they would be looking from the bank now to watch their competitors. And let's see how they're doing. 5.5 minutes into this race, it's France who lead this race by about a length and a half over two crews that are really close together. Two crews meaning Switzerland and Russia in lanes 2 and 3, if I'm gauging that correctly. So it's really fierce competition going out there. The qualification rule is there for the junior women's repechage. It's the one and only repechage, and it will bring the first 4 crews directly to the A final. As I said, Romania and Romania and Poland were the heat winners this morning, so they will be watching from the bank and trying to get some info from this repechage here.
Trenutno na stazi možemo vidjeti repesaž ženskog dvojca bez. Ovdje imamo 6 ekipa, od kojih će se 4 pridružiti pobjednicima od jutros koji su se kvalifikovali već u finale. To su Rumunija i Poljska. U prvoj stazi je posada Mađarske, druga staza Rusija, treća Švajcarska, četvrta Francuska, peta Turska i u 6. stazi Španija. Trenutno možemo da vidimo da je posada Francuske na prvom mestu i onda iza njih ima poprilično neizvesna borba za ostale 3 pozicije. Između posade Turske, Španije, Švajcarske i Rusije.
Last 250 coming up, and it's a clear domination of this race now for Emilie Mouchet, Fleur Vauqueret of France, who stamped their authority on this race very early on, but behind them it's all or nothing for 4 crews being within 1 length. Good performance now on the last stretch from Spain, looking very strong and solid here, highest rate of striking, and they come in second position. Behind them it's close between Turkey, Switzerland and Russia, with a slight edge at the moment for Switzerland, but it's Turkey coming up strongly, and the Russians are doing another push. Victorious is France, Spain second, then third for Switzerland, fourth for Turkey, and Russia just missing out on the final A here in this great race. And on the far side we have Hungary coming in 6th position. So ladies, thanks very much for this great race in the junior women's pair, the one and only repechage we had today, and that brought through France, Spain, Turkey and Switzerland towards the final A.
This is what we talked about today, and how exciting the races are going to get in the afternoon, how the repechage is going to be showing us some great racing, and I think it's going to be continuing on through the program.
I na kraju ovog jedinog repesaža za dvojac juniorke, prvo mesto uzele su takmičarke Francuske, zatim drugo mesto Španija, treće mesto Švajcarska i četvrto mesto Turska. To su ujedno i 4 ekipe koje će ići dalje uz ekipu Rumunije i ekipu Poljske u finale sutra, u finale A.
So we now move on to the repechage of the junior men's pair. And here we have 2 repechages consisting of 5 crews each. The heat winners this morning were Belarus and Romania, looking really strong and clocking times about 2 seconds apart of each other. So we see now Russia, Switzerland, Spain, France and Poland with an advantage at the halfway mark, as you can see, for Spain. But the rest are still close together. Spain also, and Switzerland, Kala and Schulte are doing fine, closing in on the Spanish crew. And then behind them is two crews nearly level for third place, that being the crew from France, Mahu and Pfister, and also the crew from Russia to the left of your picture. Only Poland hanging back a little bit.
I sljedeća trka u današnjem programu repesaža je dvojac bez juniori. Imamo 5 posada u ovom prvom repesažu. Pruga broj 1 Rusija, pruga broj 2 Švajcarska, pruga broj 3 Španija, pruga broj 4 Francuska i pruga broj 5 Poljska. Prve dve posade proći će dalje u finale A i pridružit će se pobednicima iz jutrošnje kvalifikacione trke, to su Belorusija i Rumunija. Trenutno se barem sa sudijskog tornja, koliko se vidi, pruga broj 3 Španija u vodstvu, zatim iza njih Švajcarska i za treće mesto vodi se jedna borba između ekipe Francuske i ekipe Rusije, koji do duše sada
you can see when you sorry guys, you can see when you watch that race here how difficult it is to steer that race. Sometimes you have a weak moment, and so on your side the power is not the same, and the whole boat is turned around a little bit, and you have to correct that, and that costs time. So Spain is doing really well here, together with their lane neighbors from Switzerland. These two crews lead this race and separated only by half a length now, and then it's a gap of open water to the French combination in lane 4, second from the right on your picture. And then it's also Poland and Russia in the competition, but trailing behind a little bit here. Poland making a strong effort now to close the gap on France. Progression here, I might remind you, is the first two only go through to the A final, so still some work to be done if the French or even the Polish can catch up with Switzerland and Spain leading this race.
I ulazimo u sam finiš trke gde vidimo Špance koji dalje drže vodstvo, ali čini mi se da dolazi jak finiš od strane Švajcaraca. Vidjet ćemo da li će uspjeti do kraja. Sebastian, back to you.
Thanks, Sava, and look at this demonstration of self-confidence by Spain, 28 strokes a minute only, whereas the Swiss are still on 34, 35, not managing to get too much of an overlap here. And so it's Spain winning this, and jubilant Swiss crew as well, going with them to the A final, and then it's France and Poland missing out, and the same goes for Russia on the far side, so three crews will be racing in the B final.
I dakle, pobednicima od jutros Belorusiji i Rumuniji pridružuju se Španija i Švajcarska kao ekipe koje su osvojile mesto u finalu A, dok će Francuska, Poljska i Rusija sutra biti u okršaju u finalu B.
Here we have the winners of this heat. It's the Spanish combination of Juan Palomino and Eric Pastor. Happy about their win, of course, in this repechage number 1 of the junior men's pair. Shortly coming into our view is the repechage number 2 of the junior men's pair. Here we have it. Slovenia, Greece, Turkey, Serbia and Croatia in this race. The leading 3 contenders being the middle lane, so that must be Turkey, Greece and Serbia, I believe, in that order. That leaves Croatia and Slovenia with some work to be done.
Trenutno su ekipe muškog dvojca, to je drugog repesaža muškog dvojca prošli 1000 metara. U stazi 1 je Slovenija, druga staza Grčka, staza 3 Turska, staza 4 Srbija i staza 5 Hrvatska. Možemo vidimo da su se 3 ekipe odvojile malo ispred i imaju vodstvo u odnosu na ekipe iz Hrvatske i iz Slovenije. To su Grčka, Turska i Srbija, to jest Turska, Srbija i Grčka koje vode borbu za te kvalifikacijone mesta za A finale.
Excellent race strategy so far from Ulaş Kurt and Yunus Emre Çegen of Turkey. Now in the middle of your picture, coming closer to the left side of the buoys, whereas the lane numbers from Greece, Simeonides and Soumezis, come closer to the other side. So they nearly got in contact a moment ago, and having to steer back into the middle of your lane, that cost some time. Who managed better? I think the Greek got some momentum here and close in on the Turkish crew. Also strong now the Serbians. They want to decrease the margin. They want to close the gap. Can they do it? It's about 2 lengths. So what would you say, Jovan?
Yeah, it's a very close race. The Turkish crew is definitely in the lead. But we see a very big surge from both sides of their lane in lane 2 Greece and in lane 4 Serbia.
Yeah, and still some work to be done in this race because we're only 1500. So the last 60 strokes, the last quarter of this race opening up. And this is usually the final sprint, tunnel vision, as Jovan said before, already there. So your eyesight is lost more or less, and you close your eyes and fight your way through, opening up the final sprint with a power 10 or 20, trying to get the boat on speed and the rate up. And this is exactly what the Serbians have done on lane 4. So second from the right, if you look from the grandstand or from the TV pictures. So how are the Serbs doing so?
I think they're pushing quite hard. We'll see if they'll manage to get that final A position. I really hope so. Well, it's subjective, but we'll see. Let me just get in touch with the local crowd here. Dakle, u posljednjih 500 metara vidimo 3 ekipe koje su se izdvojile. Definitivno u vodstvu je pruga broj 3 Turska, mada i sa strane bliže Makišu tamo vidimo da dolazi Grčka i da isto ekipa iz Srbije pritiska jako sa finišom, diže se broj i gleda se da li će proći. Back to you, Sebastian, in the last 20 strokes.
41 strokes for the Serbians now, 41 strokes per minute, and they close in the gap. But the Greek have also found some power left in their muscles, and the Greeks are now overtaking Turkey for second and first. Look at the Serbian crew closing in fast now, but they might run out of water. So it's Greece winning this race, this repechage, just ahead of Turkey, just ahead of Serbia. What a great race, ladies and gentlemen. Croatia coming in 4th, and then it's Slovenia in 5th place. But what a great race, what a spirited effort right at the end. A little bit too late though.
Fantastic. That's what Jovan was just telling about, fulfilling the promise of having great races this afternoon. Prvo mesto na kraju zauzela je Grčka, drugo mesto pripalo je Turskoj. A ekipa iz Srbije za samo malo ostalo je bez kvalifikacije za finale A.
All power spent, but happy about the result. That was a picture of the Greek combination of Stavros Simeonidis and Leonidas Soumezis. Congratulations for reaching the A final and winning this repechage. So we come now to the junior women's double sculls repechages, if I read my list correctly. And there is just one repechage between Serbia, Latvia, Moldova and Poland already well underway. And I believe it's Latvia with Anja Veličko and Laine Rumpe who have taken a lead here. So here we have Veličko on the stroke seat, Latvia on lane 2. They have taken a lead over, I think, the Serbian crew in 2nd place, or it might be the Polish crew to the right of your picture. So 4 crews vying it out for three, I repeat, 3 places for the semi-final A and B to be held tomorrow. So you don't want to come last in this race then?
I sljedeća trka u današnjem repesaž programu je Double Skull za juniorke. Imamo 4 posade, pruga broj 1 Srbija, pruga broj 2 Latvija, Letonija, pruga broj 3 Moldavija i pruga broj 4 Poljska. Treba napomenuti da prve 3 posade idu u polufinale, dok 4. posada je doživljava, da kažem, eliminaciju, tako da kao što je rekao kolega Sebastian, niko ne želi da bude posljednji u ovoj trci.
So the first three crews really have proved their worth in this race and moved away from the following crew from Moldova. But as we discussed before, this is not only about qualifying, it's also about assuring yourself, yes, I can do it, yes, I have the speed. That gives you that self-confidence to overcome that strain, especially on the third and fourth quarters of every race. So when you come through this, you want to be sure that you can come through tomorrow in the semi-final as well. And that's why the leading two crews at least are putting in quite a bit of effort here on the last stretch, on the last 400 meters, and that especially applies for the Polish crew of Iga Trzeminska and Martina Jankowska to the right of your picture, and then in the middle section it's the Latvian crew of Ante Veličko and Alaine Rumpe. These two crews being nearly level, followed by Serbia, Anja Simic. So these crew look set on qualifying, leaving Moldova with that uncomfortable fourth position at the moment.
I dakle, odvojile su se i po izgledima sa sudijskog tornja tri ekipe koje izgledaju kao da će proći, mada sačekat ćemo do samog kraja, ali to je ekipa Poljske koja se zaista izdvojila na prvo mesto, zatim ekipa iz Letonije i Anđe Simić i Ksenija Kaluđerović iz Srbije, dok Moldavija je nešto iza.
So with 13 boats entered in this event, it's just one missing out, automatically being 13th placed in this championship ranking. So Greece, Slovenia, France, Belarus, Romania, Croatia, Switzerland and Russia, as well as the Czech Republic, already qualified for the semi-final tomorrow. But here we have Poland and then Latvia, as well as Serbia, qualifying for the semi-final tomorrow morning.
I kao što smo već rekli, Poljska, Letonija i Srbija su se kvalifikovale za polufinalnu trku, a Moldavija je ovom trkom završila svoje učešće u ovoj disciplini na Evropskom prvenstvu.
Yeah, and the semi-final for this boat class will be held at 9:12 and 9:18 as we watch the Moldovan combination of Alexandra Chirjakova and Diana Makarenko cross the line in fourth position. Great effort. It wasn't today, but please do come back and be stronger next year. That's the winners. That's Iga Trzeminska and Martina Jankowska from Poland. So we move on to the first of two repechages in the junior men's double scull. Romania, Hungary, Estonia, Slovenia, Portugal and Serbia. From left to right if you watch on the big screen or at home on your monitor, wherever you tune in on us here. So from left to right, this is the competition. And the qualification rule here again is the first three go through to the semi-final to be held tomorrow morning, and the semi-final at 9:24, 9:30 tomorrow, and the rest will go to the C final.
Gledamo trku dvoje dubl skulova za juniore. Prvi repesaž koji je na programu na popodnevnom programu. U pruzi broj 1 Rumunija, pruga broj 2 Mađarska, pruga broj 3 Estonija, pruga broj 4 Slovenija, Portugal i Srbija u šestoj stazi. Ovdje možemo da primetimo da je već došlo do odvajanja favorita u ovoj trci, a podsjetimo da prva tri mesta će se pridružiti pobednicima od jutros u polufinalu sutra ujutru.
I think 3 boats already well clear of the rest of the field. It's the Hungarian crew looking strong in lane 2, now coming towards the halfway mark with a 1.5 length margin over Is it Estonia? No, Estonia is it's not. Slovenia actually. Semen Kravchuk and Jaka Vojk, who have second position at the moment, and then it was, I think, Portugal who were in third. So all boats now across the halfway mark, and we'll tell you about the margins in a minute as soon as we have them. But also this picture now shot from the Finnish tower, a long lens here, confirms that if you gauge the buoy chains right. So second boat from the left is the leader, and then it's the 2 boats in lanes 1 and 3, so 1 from the left and 3 from the left, who are the nearest contenders. But now another push from lane 4 from Slovenia. Kravchuk and Vojk trying to make a move on the Estonians next to them.
Dakle, vidimo sada rezultate sa polovine trke. Prva naravno je staza 2 Mađarska, zatim za njima Slovenija, pa Srbija na 3. mestu, Estonija posle njih, Portugal, pa onda Rumunija. Između prvog i trećeg samo, da kažem, 2 sekunde deli Sloveniju od lidera ove trke, a to je Mađarska, a Srbiju je na polovini trke delilo samo opet 2 sekunde od Slovenije, što je bilo manje od dužine čamca.
Yeah, so the Serbian crew right to the right of your picture, just in the picture, that's the one to watch, but because they're still within contention, but they were a little bit closer a moment ago compared to Slovenia. Lane number 3 from the right, if you will, but still the leaders are Hungary to the left of your picture, establishing a clearer margin now of 2 or 3 lengths. Then it's 2 crews closely bunched together here. That's Estonia and Slovenia, with a better momentum now for Slovenia in lane 4, counted from the left of that fast-moving field here. So the Serbians, they have some work to do if they want to catch up with one of the qualifying spots here.
Well, the Serbs still hold the 3rd place, but they do have to keep that 3rd place in order to keep up, because the Estonians are pushing quite hard.
Yeah, let's have a look at the final sprint here between the Hungarians, still in charge of this race, but the Slovenians, they had a clever tactic. They were holding back a little bit, or hanging back a little bit on the first half, then increased the pace on the third 500, and now they even look set on winning this. They could, with only 5 strokes remaining, but I think they will just run out of water here. It's Hungary taking the win, a meter or so ahead of Slovenia, Estonia in 3rd. These are the 3 qualifiers. And then we look at Serbia, great and spirited effort, but they will be rowing in the B final tomorrow. And then we have Portugal coming in, and also Romania on the far side looking from the grandstand. So correction, of course, the crews ranked 4, 5, 6 will go into the C final, which is going to be at 11:06 tomorrow.
I na kraju ovog repesaža juniorskog double skula, ekipe koje će ići dalje u polufinale, bit će na prvom mestu Mađarska, na drugom mestu Slovenija i na trećem mestu Estonija, dok će Srbija, Portugal i Rumunija naći će se u finalu C.
So here we are with the start list for Repechage number 2 of the junior men's double scull. So it's Russia, Domashev and Gushva in lane 1, Lithuania, Voznikas and Gravis in lane 2, France, Lefebvre and Palsma in lane 3, Bulgaria, Shuntov and Mutish in lane 4, Croatia in lane 5 with Skojo and Milovac. You will correct me in a minute, I believe. And then it's lane 6 for Moldova, Antoha and Mosoy.
I dakle, ovo je drugi repesaž Double Sculla za juniore. Imamo 6 ekipa. Pruga broj 1 Rusija, pruga broj 2 Litvanija, pruga broj 3 Francuska, pruga broj 4 Bugarska, pruga broj 5 Hrvatska i pruga broj 6 Moldavija. Da vas podsjetimo, prve 3 posade idu u finale, u polufinale, dok druge 3 će ići u finale C.
Just a quick message to our friend, the Russian team manager, Alexandra. Would you please come to the secretariat as quickly as possible? So Russia's team manager, Alexandra, please join us at the secretariat. So back to the racing action. Who's in front? I believe it's the French combination of Antoine Lefebvre and Corneliu Palsma, who really make their impression here on this race, on their competitors as well, followed by lane 2, that's Lithuania, Arnoldas Voznikas and Aidas Gravis. They are doing a fine job here on lane 2, trying to get away from the competitors. Again, it's about the first 3 going through to the semi-final tomorrow morning. So who's going to be in that semi-final? That's to be decided on the last 750 meters in this race.
Well, yeah, we can see lane 4 and lane 5, Bulgaria and Croatia also closing in. So it's going to be a close race for that, for those qualifying spots.
Really good teamwork here from the French combination, really moving that double scull so well. You have to have a really good simultaneous stroke, especially in this boat, I believe. I think it's less things that you can do if it doesn't fit to make that combination work. Obviously, this French combination works really well, and they have a good margin in this repechage number 2 of the junior men's double sculls. Coming towards the last 150 meters, they also have the greatest boat speed, getting away from their competitors, although everyone's sprinting at full speed, at full power. Best looking is still the Lithuanian boat for 2nd place at the moment, and then it's really close between Croatia and Bulgaria. How does it pan out, Sava? What do you see? Come on.
Well, from here I can see definitely, so as you said, the leader French, but then I can see, what is this, Bulgaria taking in 3rd place, because I don't think that the Croatians will have enough water to get them, and I think I was right. So we go France and then Lithuania and then Bulgaria with the first 3.
That was the qualifying. That were the qualifying crews. Croatia, obviously a little bit upset by the great performance by them. Everything put in also by the Russians. Domashev and Gushva on the far side coming in at 5th, and Moldova completing this field. Dimitri Antoha and Artemi Mosoy finishing in 6th place in this repechage number 2 of the junior men's double sculls.
Truly a tremendous race by all of the competitors. Ova druga repesaž grupa današnje trke juniorskog Double Sculla završila se na sljedeći način. Prvo mesto dobila je Francuska, osvojila je Francuska, zatim drugo mesto pripalo je Litvaniji i treće mesto Bugarskoj. Tu su ujedno i 3 ekipe koje će ići u polufinale u sutrašnjem delu takmičenja, u jutarnjem delu, a 4. mesto za malo da kažem kvalifikaciju u polufinale propustila je Hrvatska i zatim Rusija i kombinacija Domašev i Gužva i 6. mesto pripalo je Moldavi. Oni će se naći u okršaju sutra u finalu C.
So moving on to the junior women's four repechage number one, we will have the one and only repechage right now, and it's great to see that all 5 boats in this race are still close together, 1.5 lengths separating all 5 crews. Czech Republic, Greece, Romania, Russia, and Poland competing here. The first 4 will go through to the final A, so that means you don't want to be last in this race, of course. The heat winners being Spain and France this morning in this boat class, so they will be sitting on the grandstand most likely and watching what their competitors are doing. So here's confirmation. It's Romania leading Greece 1.6 seconds ahead, and then it's Russia in 3rd position at the moment. So these 3 boats are not very much apart, leaving some work for the other 2 crews in this race to catch up with them.
U toku je prva repesaž trka četverca B za juniorke. U pruzi broj 1 Češka, pruga 2 Grčka, pruga 3 Rumunija, pruga 4 Rusija i pruga 5 Poljska. Trenutno se takmičarke nalaze na oko 1200 metara. Uskoro ćemo imati i rezultate na 1500 koji šta će da pokaže i koga možemo da gledamo u posljednjem sprintu za ove prve 4 pozicije za kvalifikaciju u finale A.
Well, the leaders at the moment are Romania, stroked by Florentina Buburuzan, setting the pace in this race, the repechage for the junior women's 4, leaving some work for the other crews. The next contender would be the crew from Greece, who are trying to up the rate ever more over the last 100 meters or so, trying to gain race speed here to catch up with the leading crew from Romania, and that leaves the other crews a little bit behind. The Czech Republic on the far side, if you will, from our vantage point, from the camera vantage point, and also from the grandstand. So some work to do here. So let's see how this race pans out on the last stretch of water, which is about 400 meters to the finish line from now.
This is some great racing going on. You can see that what we talked about earlier, that it's going to be make it or break it racing for the finals, and you can see these crews taking it very seriously for those first 4 spots. Everything is very tight. Everyone is there's not a lot of room for those second to fourth place. Romanians are the only ones who are kind of in front with a comfortable margin.
Absolutely, Ivan, and they also look solid and still very confident in the way they row. So they have a length and a half, but the nearest contenders beside them are the Russians now trying to make a move to get away from fierce competition coming up on them. It's Greece and Poland on the grandstand side. Poland closing in on the Greek 4, but they again might run out of water here. It's the Romanians with a dominant performance on this second half of the race. Romania getting the win here ahead of Russia, and then it's Greece taking 3rd place, and then we have the Polish combination, but all 4 go through to the A final, leaving the Czech Republic with the uncomfortable 5th place in this race.
I na kraju ove repesaž trke četverac ženski, četverac bez za juniorke, izvinjavam se. Prvo mesto uzela je Rumunija, drugo mesto pripalo je takmičarkama iz Rusije, treće mesto Grčka, četvrto mesto Poljska. To su ujedno i 4 ekipe koje će ići u finale A, a nažalost ekipa iz Češke Republike završila je sa takmičenjem danas ovom trkom.
Cake by the ocean. I mean, we have not an ocean here, but we have beaches, you see. So a cake would be lovely. But later on, first we have some great racing action here. Crossing the halfway mark is the repechage for the junior men's four. So some fast pace, race pace here set by the juniors. We have 2 repechages, and the first 2 out of each of one of those will go through to the A final. The heat winners this morning were France and Romania. So let's see who will join them later on in this competition. So that was the start list. Who is doing how at the moment? Some steering problems there. If you look at lane 4, counted from the left, heavy steering problems in the Greek boat there. I don't know what happened there, but they're now back on track, back on a straight line towards the finish, which is always the shortest one. So let's take it. Lane 3 in the lead though. Spain looking strong there. Very, very solid rhythm, good body work there, and they managed to get away from the rest of the crews. Very much pressure now, a lot of pressure now on the Polish combination on the right hand of your picture. So that is again the grandstand side. They have work to do here to catch up with the leading 4 crews.
U ovom repesažu možemo da vidimo sa leve na desno, ako gledate na velikom ekranu, Češka, Litvanija, Španija, Grčka i Poljska. Trenutno na 1000 metara ili posle 1000 metara u vođstvu je posada Španije. Na drugom mestu se nalazi Poljska, 3. Grčka, 4. Češka i 5. Litvanije. Prema tome možemo da pratit ćemo trku do sledećih 500 metara, do sledećeg merenja i moćemo čak i bolju poziciju da imamo, da vidimo kako se gde nalazi.
Last 400 meters opening up in this race, and it's 2 crews sticking their bows out in front. It's lanes 3 and 5. So Spain and Poland here, just a half length apart. But we see also the Greek crew in lane 4 picking up speed and trying to overtake the Poles. Look at the high rate of striking here from the Greek combination. Steering problems all down the course. They have had that before, and so they're doing S rowing here, if you will, a long S curve. But that will cost them something. Again, look at this bad steering from the Greek, and the Poles just keep a straight course, and that might bring them through. Spain still leading this field.
I dare to say from the umpire tower, it looks like the Poles have taken over the lead.
Oh, it could be, and that's indeed the case. So it's a difficult angle to gauge here from the finish tower, but indeed the Poles have developed the greatest boat speed over the last 200 meters and have taken the lead from Spain with a length now, and the Spanish do just enough to keep off any challenge thrown at them by the Greek 4. Still working hard, still trying to close the gap, but it's Poland taking the win ahead of Spain. Those 2 qualifying for the A final, leaving the B final for Greece and the Czech Republic, and also for the crew from Lithuania.
I na kraju ove trke repesaža juniorskog četverca bez, u finale A prošle su prve 2 ekipe, a to su Poljska i Španija, dok 3., 4. i 5. ekipa, a to su Grčka, Češka i Litvanija, idu u finale B.
Look at the joy in the faces of the Polish combination here. They really did a good job on the second half, taking over the lead and bringing their boat through to the A final to be able to contend for medals, which is it's all about. Tomorrow we are there for the final races of the 2020 European Rowing Junior Championships here in Belgrade on the Ada racecourse in Serbia, all set for a great round of finals tomorrow. Repechage number 2 for the junior men's Coxed 4, the junior men's 4. Croatia, Russia, Turkey, Serbia and Hungary competing. Again, it's just 2 places for final A.
I druga repesaž trka juniorskog četverca bez sa 5 posada. U pruzi broj 1 Hrvatska, pruga broj 2 Rusija, pruga broj 3 Turska, pruga broj 4 Srbija i pruga broj 5 Mađarska. i u ovom repesažu kao i u prošlom. Prve dve ekipe prolaze dalje u finale A, dok od treće do pete naći će se sutra u finalu B.
Well, lightning speed for the Serbian boat. My co-commentators here are delighted, of course, because the Serbians have established a margin of a length over the rest of the field at the halfway mark. So they look strong and confident, striding away and tackling that second half of the race. That's so hard, muscles burning, as we told before, tunnel vision. But the Serbian combination, second from the right, if you look at the picture there, that's the Serbian crew. Very solid and compact style of rowing. Some steering problems again in the Hungarian boat on lane 5. That's the rightmost crew on your picture. Who are the next contenders? What do you say? Who are the next, the second and third place? I would say it's lanes 3. That would be Turkey, and also Russia still in the picture.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree with you, Sebastian. I think Turkey and Russia are definitely in a battle for second and third place, and I think you're right when you say that we're both delighted for now about the leadership of the Serbian crew right now. But I also think it's 1,000 meters in, and I think they will have to do some really good work to keep that length of leadership going on. Maybe even to break open water if they want to assert their dominance in this race.
Yeah, the 1,000 meter mark, it was over 2 seconds. That was their margin there, I think, and we both gauge it that way, that the Turkish combination has come closer, might even have been drawing level over the past 200-300 meters. So good speed there in the Turkish boat there. But these two crews are well clear of the rest of the field, headed by third place crew from Russia. Second from the left, if you look at the picture right now, they try to close the gap. Then it could be Croatia, the crew to the left of your picture, and on the far right it's Hungary, also desperately trying to gain speed to close up with the leading 4 crews. Just the first 2 crew go through to the A final.
I think that if Hungary sorts out their steering problem, I think they might cause some damage in this. For that third place, so we'll see by the end.
There's a clear division between the first two crews that are going to go to the A final, which is going to be for now, and I think it's going to be like that until the end. It's Serbia in the first place, and then the second place for the moment is Turkey.
You can hear it from the bank. There's Serbian spectators around supporting their crew, and it's a winning performance here from the Serbian crew, and looks like they're set on winning this Repechage number 2, bringing their crew in contention for the medals tomorrow. How good would that be for the home crowd? Second place at the moment also looks set on a final A spot is Turkey, with nearly a length down on the Serbian crew, and then it's 3 lengths of open water on a fast sprinting Russian boat. Then it's the Hungarians and the Croatians bringing up the rear.
I prvo mesto pripalo je ekipi iz Srbije, drugo mesto ekipi iz Turske. To su ujedno i 2 ekipe koje će ići u finale A. Zatim Rusija koja je prošla 3. kroz cilj. Zatim Mađarska i Hrvatska koji će ići u finale B. Odlična trka i odličan finiš za naše momke Jezdimirovića, Grubera, Belića i Samardžiju.
Delighted Serbians. They have some time to celebrate their victory, but probably they would just stick to cool down and recovery routines. Let's look at the junior women's quadruple scull, Repechage number 1, Slovenia, Serbia again, Czech Republic, Russia and Ireland contending in this field here, and qualification rule is the first 2 come through. That's even a rhyme in a way. So the first 2 will go through to the A final. Let's see how this field is doing. It's 4 crews nearly level with next to 3 minutes in this race. Just one crew lacking the speed here a little bit, which seems to be Serbia, unfortunately, at the moment, but maybe they can catch up. Leaders, well, difficult to call from our vantage point, but it seems to be lane 3. Czech Republic leading this field, coming close to halfway mark, together with Russia, together with Ireland, correction there, and Russia also not far off.
A upravo smo se uključili i u trku četverca Sculla juniorki, to je prva grupa repesaža. Dakle, imamo 5 ekipa, pruga broj 1 Slovenija, pruga broj 2 Srbija, pruga broj 3 Češka, pruga broj 4 Rusija i pruga broj 5 Irska. Valja napomenuti da prve 2 ekipe koje budu prošle kroz cilj se kvalifikuju za finale A, dok od 3. do 5. mesta prolaze dalje u finale B. Iz sudijskog tornja teško je odavde reći ko trenutno vodi. Odavde izgleda da su možda pruga broj 3 i pruga broj 5 se vode za prvo mesto, to je Češka Republika i Irska. So from the umpire tower we can see that I think lane number 3 Czech Republic and lane number 5 Ireland are going for first place, but we can also see lane 4 Russia coming in with and also we shouldn't forget about lane 1 Slovenia. Thank you, Jovan.
Yeah, so everything in it for at least 4 crews in this race, just 2 final A places. We have seen Switzerland and France qualifying directly in that order from heat number 1 this morning, as well as Romania and Poland from heat 2. So these 4 crews, these 16 athletes and their coaches might be sitting on the grandstand now, preparing for the training session coming up later on, watching their competitors, because the race is over when it's over. That's tomorrow, when it's about the medals, when it really counts. So heats are one thing, reps are another, and the really important thing, of course, is the final. And sometimes, especially at the younger age categories, sometimes there can be a turnaround between heat performances and final performances. So lane 3 in the lead, the Czech Republic continuing to build on their lead, followed closely by the Slovenian combination in lane 1. And then I believe it's lane 4 Russia, who are the closest contender for that second place. Strong speed from Ireland as well, from the lane number 5 to the far right of your picture. So this is going to be a good race to watch on the last 350.
This is also something building on what we were talking about this morning, about the first race in the season and how these young athletes are very anxious and really eager to show their performance, and we can see the turn of speed might be also something this influenced during these troubling times.
Greatest, highest rate of striking by the Irish on lane 5. Look at the green and white racing suits there, shining brightly. The Irish trying to take over the lead from the Czech Republic even. Definitely now in second place. So it's the Czech Republic, beautiful sculling from those 4 ladies out there on the Ada Lake, and the Irish combination closing in, but it's a length now for the Czech Republic ahead of Ireland, but Ireland are clearly away from the Russians, who have to be content with the B final at this event here, as well. The same goes for Slovenia and for the Serbian crew.
I na kraju ove repesaž trke četverca Sculls za juniorke, prvo mesto pripalo je Češkoj Republici, drugo mesto Irskoj, to su ujedno i 2 ekipe koje će ići dalje u finale A, dok Rusija na 3. mestu, Slovenija na 4. i Srbija na 5. naći će se sutra u finalu B.
delighted winners. That was a shot on the Czech Republic boat that won this repechage. Let's move on to the next fast race. It's the junior men's quadruple scull. It's the repechage number 1. There's 2 repechages coming up, so this is the first of 2. The first 3 will go through already at halfway mark, but it's really close. Look at this, it's just half a length for the French combination who stick their nose out in front, but the rest of the field is really tightly packed, at least for ranks 1 to 5, with Serbia hanging back just a little bit.
Trenutno na stazi možemo da vidimo repesaž muškog četverca Skull. Ako gledate na ekranu, od leve ka desnoj idu Slovenija, Slovačka, Francuska, Ukrajina, Španija i Srbija. Možemo da vidimo da će prve 3 ovdje, kao i u prethodnim nekim trkama, prve 3 posade idu u polufinale A i B, i ovdje možemo primetimo samo da se Francuska malo odvojila od ostatka grupe. Sve ostale čamci će da se bore za ostale 2 pozicije koje vode u polufinale A i B.
It's getting closer and closer between the leading 2 crews, and I believe it's really close here between lanes 3, that's France, and then the lane neighbors to the left, that's Slovakia, also doing a fine job here. Slovenia is the next crew here on the far left, lane number 1. So these 3 crews well clear of the following crews. Lane 6, we can't see lane 6 at the moment, so the crews to the right of the picture now are Spain and Ukraine. Spain to the right, and then 1 lane in are the Ukrainian scullers. In the lead though, still the French combination of Cresson, Amanjon, Assier and Bauer. Now look at this bright sunshine over the Arasagania racecourse here, and great racing conditions as they have been all afternoon in this session of repechages. Early on we also had preliminary races, but now it's again all or nothing for the 6 crews competing in junior men's quadruple sculls repechage number 2. Just 3, the first 3 will qualify for semi-final A and B. That's going to be held tomorrow at 9:36 and 9:42 respectively. Look at the French flying, but also the Ukrainians coming in now strongly, and it's the Spanish holding on to 2nd place. So 3 crews well clear of the rest of the field, and that's France crossing the line in first ahead of Spain, and then Ukraine, all separated by half a length each, with a little bit of open water towards the Slovakian crew. Then it's Serbia coming in 5th position, and Slovenia on the far side would be in 6th place at the end of this repechage number 1 of the junior men's quadruple sculls.
I na samom kraju ovog prvog repesaža juniorskog četverca Skull vidimo da je Francuska uzela prvo mesto, drugo mesto pripalo je Španiji, 3. mesto Ukrajini. Tu su ujedno i 3 posade koje će proći dalje u polufinale, dok 4., 5. i 6. mesto za Slovačku, Srbiju i Sloveniju znače odlazak u C finale.
So, ladies and gentlemen out there watching on worldrowing.com and here on the venue and around the other race course, let's savor the last 2 races of the day, which is the 2nd repechage of the junior men's quad coming up here with Croatia, Switzerland, Ireland, Turkey and Romania. And then after that we have the one and only repechage of the junior men's 8. So that will finish off our day of racing here, the first of 2 days of racing at the 2020 European Rowing Championships. So let's join the racing action. Sava, have you watched the race? Who's in the lead at the moment? Is it lane 3?
I think it's lane 3 at the moment. Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. I can see some green over there. Followed by what is this lane?
Yeah, that's
lane
Turkey, correct.
4, Turkey, exactly. And then there's a close battle between Switzerland and Croatia for that 3rd place.
Really great fighting going on here. Everyone wants to be in that semi-final, saving the chance to win a medal later on tomorrow. So semi-final tomorrow, as I said, at 9:42 and 9:36. But the final will then already be at 2:12. So a few hours left then, maybe to recover. But you want to save every bit of energy that you can. So 2 races a day. It's quite a tough schedule. It's doable, but it's really tough. So let's keep our fingers crossed that these athletes manage well. Managing well at the moment definitely is Ireland in lane 3 still. Brian Colch, that's Tom Kelly, Adam Murphy and Andrew Sheehan doing a fine job here, establishing a good race pace, good race rhythm as well. The quad, the fastest sculling boat class, is a fast one as well, so nearly as fast as an 8, and they move this boat beautifully down the course. But the competition still is strong and fierce, at least between Croatia, Switzerland and Turkey for 2nd, 3rd and 4th places at the moment. Only Romania hanging back a little bit at this point.
Definitely swiftness and explosiveness is the name of the game in this boat class, and I think that both the Irish and the Turkish are showing great promise in getting 1st place over here. But as you said, Sebastian, it's the first 3 that get to be the lucky ones and move on to the semifinals.
Yeah, and it's again the tricky thing that we discussed earlier today. It's the first and also the last race of the season for many of these athletes. I mean, they have probably raced locally, they have done their qualification races, but this is the first and last international appearance in the 2020 season that has been dealing hard times for everyone involved in sports, cancellations of events. So we're really happy for the athletes that are able to compete here. Still lane 3, the green and white colors of Ireland looking strong there. But competition is strong. So Switzerland, you can hear the cowbell bells. I mean, I can hear them. I don't know if you can hear them on the stream, but they are also calling for action here. Switzerland, stroked by Nicola Letta, up the rate and try to challenge the Irish crew for the 1st place.
I u ovoj drugoj trci repesaža juniorskog četverca Skulla ulazimo u poslednjih 250 metara trke gde Irska vodi i vodi se borba za drugo mesto između Turske i Švajcarske, ako se ne varam. It's a close one for 2nd place. What do you think, Sebastian?
Oh, absolutely. And look at the Turkish combination. They have found some extra speed there. So they have overtaken the Swiss and challenged the Irish. But the Irish crew looks strong enough to fend off that challenge, crossing the line in 1st place ahead of Turkey. And then it's Switzerland. So these 3 crews are the qualifiers for the semi-final A, leaving the C-final for Croatia and also for Romania.
I kao što je moj kolega već rekao, prve 3 ekipe koje su prošle kroz cilj, a to su Irska, Turska i Švajcarska, idu dalje u polufinale, dok ekipa Hrvatske i ekipa Rumunije idu u finale C sutra. Ovo je bila pretposlednja trka današnjeg programa, a uskoro se uključujemo i u posljednju trku, a to je osmerac juniori.
Delighted Irish crew, good work there from the crew of Brian Colch, Tom Kelly, Adam Murphy and Andrew Sheehan winning that. So, ladies and gentlemen, the final race of day one of the 2020 European Rowing Junior Championships, the Repechage, the one and only Repechage of the Junior Men's 8, and it's Croatia, Estonia, Ukraine, Serbia, and Romania. The first four will go through to the A final. The heat winners of this morning being Russia and the Czech Republic. Watching from the bank, who's going to come through, who's going to miss out. Sava and Jovan, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a devastating race for one crew, that's for sure, because they're going to be out of the final. But the four crews are definitely going to be great contenders for the medals tomorrow.
It's also devastating because they won't race again at this event. So it's the last race for one of those crews, and they all have worked so hard, come a long way to be able to compete. So it looks good for Romania in the front of your picture, and it also does look good for the Ukrainian crew. Halfway mark is there. Ukraine just ahead of the rest of the field in second place. But Serbia is well within contention, right?
Yes, yes, and like we were saying, this is it. This is the grand, always the most anticipated race of the day. I always think so, because there's a lot of moving parts.
Sorry, I thought that was the women's 8.
Oh, well, the women's 8 is also a,
no,
is
just
also a good one.
Chatting you a bit. No,
well,
certainly,
you know
8 is one of the blue ribbon events, so women's or men's 8.
You got me there, Sebastian. You got me there. Both of those are fantastic. I think 8's racing generally is the most exciting. Like we said, a lot of moving parts, a lot to do with the synchronization, a lot to do with the speed, a lot to do with the coxswains, with the team effort, and I think anything can happen in this race. And I believe that, like Jovan said, being fifth in this race will truly be devastating.
Yeah, and simply, I mean, we all agree that the 8 is simply the symbol of teamwork. I mean, that's what it stands for, and it's that traditional boat class of rowing. Who's doing best at the moment is the third, lane number 3, Ukraine. So the last race is underway, and we have about 600 meters left in this race. Still a close contention between all crews. No one has lost contact. Serbian crew hanging back half a length compared to the Romanian crew, who I believe is fourth at the moment. Leading still is Ukraine. Second place for me looks to be at the moment Croatia, and then it's Estonia in third place. So that's all closely contended, but I'm pretty sure supported by the home crowd. The Serbian will put everything that they have. It just depends on how much have they left in the tank. Repechage of the Junior Men's 8, the final race of day one of the 2020 European Rowing Junior Championships.
I ulazimo u posljednjih 350 metara trke posljednjeg repesaža današnjeg programa, to je juniorski osmerac. Imamo 5 ekipa, Hrvatsku u prvoj pruzi, u pruzi broj 2 Estonije, pruga broj 3 je Ukrajina, pruga broj 4 Srbija i pruga broj 5 Rumunija. Pruga broj 3, koliko se meni čini, i pruga broj 1 Hrvatska i Ukrajina se nalaze u pozicijama, zapravo Hrvatska na prvoj poziciji, ali još uvek svašta može da se desi. Sebastian, back to you. What's going on?
I think the Serbians have gained boat speed now and try to overtake the Estonians if they have not already done so. But at the head of the field, it's Romania and Ukraine battling it out for victory here in this Repechage. It looks to be Romania in first place and Ukraine in second. Who's going to come third? It's the Serbians, the Estonians, and the Croatians fighting it out. Serbia has the biggest boat speed, about a meter or two to cover. It's going to be Croatia, and then it's going to be very close. I think Estonia just missed out here. I think it was let's say the British would say a foot, but I would say it was half a meter by which the Estonians might have missed out, but we'll wait for the official confirmation. Nonetheless, everyone on the venue, big round of applause for this great race from all the crews involved. 5 crews battled out here in the Repechage of the Junior Men's 8.
What a fantastic finish for all crews. I na samom kraju videli smo da su Rumunija i Ukrajina bile prva i druga. a vidjet ćemo, sačekat ćemo oficijalne rezultate kako bismo mogli da kažemo ko je na kraju ispao iz ove trke. Učinilo nam se iz komentatorskog ugla da je to Estonija na kraju, ali sačekat ćemo zvanične rezultate.
So we gauged it correctly. Estonia just missed out. What a great race, ladies and gentlemen. So Romania took the win ahead of Ukraine, and then Serbia in third also qualified, but and then Croatia in fourth as well. But 28 hundredths of a second was the margin Croatia had over Estonia. A great race, a great way to conclude this day number one at the 2020 European Rowing Junior Championships.
I na kraju možemo da vidimo Rumunija prvo mesto, Ukrajina na trećem mestu, Hrvatska na četvrtom i Estonija nažalost na petom mestu završava danas svoje učešće u osmercu u ovoj disciplini na Evropskom šampionatu juniorskom 2020. godine. Ovo je fantastičan kraj prvog dana trka i da kažem jedan prikaz i malo obećanje šta nas čeka sutra u finalnom programu. It was truly a fantastic day of racing, and I am very excited for tomorrow's finals. This was a little promise of what's in store for tomorrow.
Absolutely, and be sure to join us tomorrow morning. My colleague Sava and Jovan Popovic, who are the Serbian rowing experts here, but their English is better than mine. My name is Sebastian Franke. I had the pleasure of bringing you the latest of the racing action here, but please do make sure you tune in time for tomorrow's racing action. So semi-finals start at 9 o'clock Central European time, go on until 9:50 roughly. Then we have a little gap after that, start with the final C at 11, but then go all the way through to 3 p.m. with the finals C, then B finals, and finally the A finals about the medals at 12:26. The first boat class to open this medal final session is the Junior Women's Coxed 4, and then the last race of the day will be at 1500 Central European time, the Junior Men's 8. We had a great day of competition, and we admire the spirit all the juniors put in today. So happy to be here and reporting from live racing action, not virtual racing, but real live action on the water. So everyone stay safe, stay healthy, keep social distance, and observe all the rules, and we're going to be fine tomorrow, starting at 9. Please be on time.
I samo kratko, kao što je rekao naš kolega Sebastian, sutra krećemo sa trkama u 9 ujutro, polufinalni program kreće i negde oko podneva krećemo sa finalnim trkama. Zaista je bio prvi fantastičan dan trka i nadamo se da će sutra vreme da nas posluži kao što nas je poslužilo i danas. Čuvajte se i vidimo se sutra. Budite ovde pre 9, ne propustite početak polufinalnog dela takmičenja. Do sutra, ja sam Sava Popović, moj kolega Jovan Popović i Sebastian Franke, odjavljujemo se iz Beograda i vidimo se sutra.